The Dark Nebula infiltration arc was honestly a twist of a resolution, but also many questions being asked. This was the second arc of Beyblade Metal Fusion, and it really set up the lore of the entire season, and today I'm going to be going over that arc, so let's hop straight into it. The arc starts after Gingka had just defeated KiiNGKhyy for the second time after he was being manipulated from Doji. Doji walks onto the field clapping his hands as their battle came to an end. He offers a toast to Gingka, and Gingka remembers who Doji is. Gingka gets a vivid memory of who would later on be Ryuga, and we hear Ryuga laughing, and Gingka says he will never forgive Doji as he gets ready to launch his Bey. Doji says he has no interest in battling Gingka right now and offers to have Gingka come to the Dark Nebula facility. He then says KiiNGKhy's training was less than adequate, but he was able to gain valuable data. Doji then launches his Bey towards KiiNGKhyy and destroys him easily as KiiNGKhyy was already tired after battling Gingka. Doji then flies away in a helicopter offering his greeting and hopes his next encounter with Gingka is also enjoyable. We then see KiiNGKhyy resting at Madoka's dad's shop being treated. Benkei arrives hugging KiiNGKhyy and being relieved that he's still okay. It's good to have a friend like Benkei who was always looking out for him. KiiNGKhyy remembers his match with Doji and how he lost. We then see Madoka come in with breakfast and also fixes Leon, making him look brand new again. Madoka makes him remember that he did not become strong on his own and also had Leon there by his side. KiiNGKhyy is shocked and wondered why she helped him even though he did all those things. Madoka says she's not going to leave him lying there alone, and Benkei asks him to help KiiNGKhyy. KiiNGKhyy is still in neglect, saying no one asked him to help, and he's being himself as usual. We see Gingka finally catch back up on the team after last night. Gingka is fatigued but needs to see KiiNGKhyy right away. Gingka tells him that Doji has a forbidden Bey. Beyblades possess a special hidden power that is to be only used for battles, but there are people who want to use them for more than battles, like the Dark Nebula organization. They broke the seal of a Bey that should have never been used. That Bey's name was Lightning Ldrago, a forbidden Bey that holds an evil power. Gingka must do whatever it takes so that Ldrago is not fully awakened. As he is explaining this, we see KiiNGKhyy in the background overhearing this entire thing. They go on to look for KiiNGKhyy, and he is now gone from his room. Benkei, Madoka, and Kenta all agree to look around, helping Gingka find Doji. To no avail, they had no luck finding out anything with the Dark Nebula organization, and it's now nighttime. KiiNGKhyy then appears before them and tells them where they can find Doji's base, and he leaves off. They then meet up with Gingka, and we get a first look at the Dark Nebula base. We see Ryuga in a container still waiting for his physical strength to become 100%, but it's still some time before he is conscious again. Doji is notified that some intruders are coming and it's Gingka and the team. They walk towards the base as Doji puts them through a test, facing off against many Beys. They get surrounded by Beys everywhere with no way to scatter them. Then we see KiiNGKhyy coming, helping them defeat all of the Beys with a special move. KiiNGKhyy tells them that he owes a big debt to Doji and he wants to pay him back. Gingka is glad that KiiNGKhyy is here and they enter the base. As they make their way in, we hear Doji over the intercom and he says to prepare for the enjoyment. We hear this AI voice named Menace who speaks to Gingka, saying he's glad Gingka remembers him and he put in a lot of work to set up these tasks for Gingka. Their first task is an improbable treadmill that they can't keep up with. They all end up falling except Gingka, who gets faced with multiple Beys at once. He defeats all of them easily, but then the speed increases. Benkei then helps out by destroying the treadmill itself. Very smart move by Benkei, saving Gingka. They keep moving and find an elevator, taking them to the 3rd floor. The next task is a gigantic Beyblade thrown at them. They run away from the Bey and are unable to escape. They place their Beys on top of the Bey, clashing against each other to cancel out the Bey. I really love the creative thinking that the first season had, as it felt more like it relied on the use of strategic play rather than an overuse of power. Gingka and the team are able to advance further, entering the training room. They now get to the 3rd task. Madoka then attempts to hack Mercy and corrupt their system. We see her in a virtual battle against the firewall, and as she keeps going, we see the other bladers who are trained in Dark Nebula battle against the team. Madoka is able to get past the firewall and grants them access to open the doors, giving them the quickest route to the top floor. Gingka and KiiNGKhyy advance further with just them two. They are then met with twin bladers who can read Gingka's attack patterns. KiiNGKhyy then tells Gingka to go on ahead and he fights them both on himself. Gingka then gets to the top floor, meeting Doji himself at a table. Gingka asks Doji where Ldrago is, and Doji says he's impatient and he should put his feet up and have a chat. Gingka says he has nothing to talk about and wants to take Ldrago back. Doji says no one owns the Ldrago except the blader who has the power to control it. Gingka will not allow anyone to use the Forbidden Bey, and Doji tells Gingka that he will bring out the ultimate power of Pegasus and he will be the biggest threat the Dark Nebula has ever seen. He asks Gingka to join forces with him. He offers Gingka to turn him into a greater blader than he can ever imagine. Using the hidden power of Bey to control the world isn't just a fantasy. He wants Gingka to join him so he can show him the true value of a Bey, but Gingka says he already knows the true power, but he will never join the forces of someone who will abuse that power, and he launches his Bey, and so does Doji. We see Ldrago shining and gaining traction as Gingka launches it. We cut back to KiiNGKhyy as he is facing the twins and starts to build up wind for his special move. The twins say there is no wind inside the building, so KiiNGKhyy cannot use his special move, but KiiNGKhyy says you can't always predict the weather as he garners heat from his base friction to create his own wind current. Once again, it's like all the smartest moves and tactics came out during this first arc alone. KiiNGKhyy is then able to use his special move and defeats the twins. Doji and Gingka's battle is so intense that he is able to awaken Ldrago from his power alone. The building starts to crumble as we see Ldrago awaken. I like how they made the sky gloomy and show lightning, symbolizing the dark power of Ldrago. We then see Ryuga awaken with Ldrago in his hand staring down at Gingka. Ryuga says long time no see. Gingka tells Ryuga he is the one person he will never forgive. Ryuga tells Gingka that he is no match for his Ldrago. The rest of the gang catch up and finally see Ryuga as well. They notice a force around him. Doji tells him how it's a forbidden bay and he was surprised that Ryuga has woken up so quickly to control Ldrago. Gingka tells Ryuga he will defeat him and all of his training has come for this moment. We see the clash of purple and blue from both bladers. Doji says that Gingka's power allowed Ryuga to recover so much faster. He explains the existence of bays throughout history. We see the power of Beyblade changing the course of rivers and oceans used to defeat many armies and create empires. And one person is said to use one bay to control the earth and cause natural disasters. Those who wield tremendous power within a bay can control the world itself. Of all the bays in existence, the one with the most overwhelming power is Ldrago. The stadium is then set up for Ryuga and Gingka. Both bladers launch and we see the overwhelming power of both forces. We see Pegasus go back in for a spin, and that's when we see for the first time that Ldrago came into Pegasus' path from the opposite direction. We then learn that Ldrago is the first bay to spin to the left, a reverse rotating bay. Ldrago became known as a forbidden bay, and if a bay that rotates to the left and to the right were to battle, the rotation speed would increase, making the attack power at the moment of impact unbelievably strong. We learn that Ldrago is an attack type, destroying everything in its way. Gingka starts to get knocked down by Ldrago, not being able to keep up with Ldrago's attack power. Gingka then uses Ldrago to increase his own power, aiming for the sky. He then uses his special move Star Blast attack, but Ldrago is able to easily deflect it. Ldrago then takes Pegasus up into the air, strangling it. Gingka's special move has no effect on Ldrago, and Gingka is stunned. Ryuga tells Gingka Ldrago is known as the Forbidden Bay because Ldrago uses its secret dark power to absorb its opponent's strength. Ryuga then taunts Gingka, asking if he has given up. He then launches towards Gingka with a barrage of attacks. Gingka gets knocked down once again. The turning point of this battle then comes here. Ryuga says that Gingka's not even a threat and tells him to get a better bay from his dad. He then says his dad was second rate. Gingka gets extremely enraged from those comments, and Ryuga says that his father couldn't cut it. He tells him to grovel at his feet like his father did. Gingka then completely goes insane, going straight after Ldrago with a barrage of attacks. The whole time, however, Ldrago is constantly draining Gingka's power over and over. His friends tell him to calm down and think of a plan, but Gingka says he doesn't need a plan. Gingka had never acted like this before, and it was leading to his destruction. Ryuga loves this from Gingka though, and wants to see more of his rage so Ldrago can gain even more power. This battle was pretty bad as Ryuga just gained even more power over and over. Ryuga's percentage of recovery then reached all the way up until 120%. Ryuga was just provoking Gingka's anger on purpose. We see a flashback of Gingka saying a Beyblade is about pouring your heart into it, and Kenza can't believe the Gingka that he's seeing. Ryuga says this is enough and decides to end it. He switches the dragons on Ldrago and uses his dark move, Dragon Emperor Soaring Bite Strike. This attack launched all three dragon heads into the air and they all descended onto Pegasus, knocking him into the ground. The battle was then over. Ryuga then thanks Gingka for filling up Ldrago with his anger. Gingka is completely in shock for losing. He was the one who helped Ryuga recover from his power, and Doji gives him his thanks. Ryuga then says to get ready for the preparations for Battle Bladers. Gingka can't believe he helped Ldrago recover and that Ryuga's back. We see him crying in defeat. This was honestly a great arc as it helped set up basically the rest of the season. We learned about the Dark Nebula and their plans to rule the world with Ldrago and Ryuga controlling the Forbidden Bay. It would also help later set up the huge Beyblade tournament called Battle Bladers, where the winner would face Ryuga, and it goes more into the past of Pegasus and Ldrago, and shows just how important those two bays were. I love this arc, even though it was only 3 episodes, we really were filled in with a lot of the story and just what we could expect going on. Let me know how you guys feel about this arc and what other arcs should I go over in the Beyblade universe. Well, I thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.